My name is Diana Morgan Fuchs. I'm one of the nurse practitioners. I work with Dr. Orsini at Winnie Palmer Hospital. I was intrigued by BBN. I had heard about BBN because of Dr. Orsini's involvement. However, one evening when I was on with him, we got a call to go to the triage unit, which is essentially mothers coming in that are high risk. There was a fatal diagnosis, and the parents wanted everything to be done. And we had to go down there and essentially try to figure out what the situation was like, what was going to be done when the baby was delivered, and Dr. Orsini and I were on together. So given his experience with the BBN, of course I shadowed with him and we went down there. Typically in my past experiences, I would go in and with the knowledge of what my experiences are and what would happen in delivery and things like that. However, watching Dr. Orsini, I realized that there was much more to presenting bad news. And I realized that it was more of a delivery and that the information that I had could not be presented unless I had the delivery that came with it. Once we got down to the triage unit, Dr. Orsini got beside the bedside with the mother. The father elected to stand behind the mother's stretcher. It was a very small room, and of course I stood behind Dr. Orsini. He introduced himself. We introduced everybody in there. He started off with asking the mother, "Tell me about how your infant's diagnosis came about." And she started to talk about the diagnosis of this infant having the T18. And as soon as the mother started talking about when she was diagnosed with the T18, the father, who was off to the side, iterated in a very harsh and strong voice, "That's when they wanted us to kill our baby." Oh. And then the mother continued on, and Dr. Orsini continued to hear her story, and he said, "That must have been very devastating for you." And then the mother continued on, and she essentially encountered where we are, the history of to where we were at that moment, 11 o'clock at night, on a weekend, with her going into preterm labor. And during that time, every so often, the father would iterate with, "They wanted us to terminate the pregnancy." So watching him get that history and seeing where this family had come to this point before he ever gave his information was a huge impact before he even gave the information. And it really set a precedence on, I have my information, but unless I know where these families are coming from, it doesn't matter my information. I have to understand where they're coming from. It literally took, I'd say, 5 or 10 minutes, but the understanding of the dad's anger, of the whole situation, of how many times he had been told to terminate the pregnancy, and how we should come about presenting this was totally different versus me coming in and saying, "Your child is a T18, you want everything done, you're going to deliver, and this is what's going to happen." It honestly put things in a different perspective, and that's why I'm here today. And this is why I think that this should be for every physician, because it does set a precedence that you have to understand where these families are coming from before you can actually even go in. I work neonatal, so there is a big history. There's sometimes the history is long, but then there's sometimes the pregnancy is very short, and they come in very early, deliveries, and it's very short, and there may be, a very rough time, but you have to get that story first before I can present my part of it. And I think that has had a huge impact on me.